2, 1. There we go.
Here we are practicing our social distancing once again. Thank you so much for joining us for episode 7 of our Manitoba Advocate for Children and Youth Facebook live stream. This is officially for today, take number 7 possibly. So because of the technical difficulties, we're going to be just filming and uploading this as soon as we're finished. I wanted to start today by making a few acknowledgements. Monday, May 4th, was one of our youth ambassador, Rose, her birthday. So we wanted to give a shout out to Rose and say, happy birthday, Rose, and
may the 4th be with you.
In addition to our birthday shout out to Rose, we wanted to just let you know that today we're going to focus on mental health. This is Mental Health Awareness Week, and so we wanted to just be able to provide you with some links to resources and have some discussion around the right to live and thrive. We've talked about that right before. Today is going to be a little bit special, though. We had the opportunity to meet with our Youth Ambassador team online, of course, and have some...
No technical difficulties.
No technical difficulties. Yay Zoom. So we did get a little bit of their feedback, and so today I'll be sharing a little bit about what it means to thrive to our young people that participate on our Youth Ambassador team. Cheryl will be doing some teachings today on the bear, and also has put together a beautiful prayer, which I have to say she's going to have a great afternoon due to the 6 takes. She's been praying all morning. So when you were checking out our feed and you could see our mouths moving, it was generally prayer. In addition to that, she's also smudged the computer about 3 times in hopes that it would start working, so maybe that will help. She's also agreed to bring some jelly beans next week for the little people so that we can hopefully get started without all of this. I'd like to say thank you to John for continuously working to make sure that we're uploaded every week to you. So I'm going to pass it off to Cheryl to pray again.
Good morning. Bonjour. Can you abik tijna kaz na me on a moegan? Miigwech for this beautiful day. Miigwech mashomas gibi wase azian nomgom. Miigwech nakit nomgom gizigak. Wewana jimano gana wabamang ningawi ji ba madis. Minawa wewane ji gaganon nag. Miigwech gi shke kami kwe. Gi miziang nabi. Gi miziang wewanang. When minawa gi miziang nisawayan. Esama ning gabig gibina wabanang jawanang wabi nong gi wedanong. Minawa ji zon deke iayan. Miigwech mashumas. Thank you, Grandfather, for shining on us today. I say thank you for this beautiful day, that I will look upon everybody with good thoughts, that I will talk to everyone in a good way. Thank you to Mother Earth for giving us water, for giving us life, for giving us food, and for giving us the animals, and especially the air that we breathe. I offer my tobacco to the 4 directions, north, south, east, and west. Help me to be able to stand strong and to have a good heart today. Miigwech, Grandfather. The Manitoba Advocate wishes to acknowledge that we are located on the original lands of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and the beautiful homelands of the Métis Nation.
And once again, I'm John, and I'm in charge of technical things today, which are driving me insane. So bear with us, bear with me. Lots of prayers, hopefully my way. And I work with Kathy and Cheryl, part of the Youth Engagement Coordinator team. And we work with the Youth Ambassador Advisory Squad, which is a group of youth, very brilliant group of youth from throughout Manitoba. And it's interesting, my work is it never stays the same. And getting to work with these youth really helps open my eyes to lots of things. Recently, our office had released a report, actually yesterday. And if you were watching that, or if you go on our website and you check out the report, the actual title came from one of our youth ambassadors. And I think it just speaks to how much Daphne and our advocate and this office really holds highly the voice of youth and just to actually take a report and actually name it from something one of our youth ambassadors said, I think again just speaks to how important their voice is, not just to our office, but to everybody into this province, to youth across the province, because really youth are a lot, I don't think they get enough credit. They're very brilliant, and every week when we meet with them, they have these astounding things to say. You just need to stop and listen to the youth. So that's where I'm going to leave that. I do want to mention, I'm a little thrown off, so I apologize, that we're giving away MACY swag. We have Wavy Baby, so Wavy Guy, and we have some t-shirts, we have some other swag to give away. So if you want to leave a comment, we'll be going through that. If you leave questions as well, you'll be entered to win. And weekly, we want to give away some MACY swag to one lucky winner. So feel free to leave some questions and comments, and I will pass it back to Cheryl.
Miigwech, John. This is just a good example of what we're talking about today, to live and thrive. Sometimes we have a bad path, sometimes it's not as easy. We have to have that struggle to remember what is good in our life. So that balance. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about the Bear Clan teaching. It's known as the largest, no, I can't talk. So it's known as the largest clan. The Bear Clan represents the guardianship. They're the protectors of the people. Bear Clan members have a thorough knowledge of plants, berries, roots, barks, the medicines of Mother Earth. They're very comfortable in the bush. Many who belong with the Bear Clan are usually associated with being in the healing profession. In our traditional world, we look to them as healers. They also are in policing, governance, medical fields. Wisdom and authority are often associated with the bear medicine. Members of this clan were usually war chiefs and warriors. And as guardians of the people, they provided protection and safety for all of our peoples. We must always have a safe and healthy regard for members in the Bear Clan, for their abilities and their strengths that they, as Bear Clan members, share so openly and willingly with all our people in our community. And we can see that today in these times. So the Bear Clan teaching reminds us to be respectful of others' thoughts and feelings. Just to remember that people have, we don't always know what they're going through. It's good medicine to always be kind to others. That strength of the bear is always within you. You have to reach down and use that courage to be able to understand that sometimes things are scary to proceed with, but you can do it in a good way. I always remind the youth that I listen to, that I work with, that independence doesn't come easily. If you don't struggle, you have to work for it. Sometimes, even as adults, we forget that we had to go through the same path. In order to learn, you have to crawl, walk, and stand up. So in that order, you have to be able to understand that that's how the bear teaches us to lumber along, but we move forward slowly. Miigwech.
So we are going to talk to one of the rights this week, being Mental Health Awareness Week. We cover it every week, but the UNCRC, United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, it's very important, and it's very important for youth and youth care providers to go through that and look at the 42 rights that are there. So we will provide a link for where you can actually get the MACY UNCRC downloadable poster to print if you would like, and we'll provide that in the comments section. The biggest thing you need to know when you're a youth, what's a right and what's a want. So wants are quite simply things you want, whether it be a puppy, an Xbox,
a new car,
things like that. The difference with a right is rights are things that you are legally entitled to, or be able to have a great start in your life, or to be able to have a good start in your life. All these rights are covered in the UNCRC. There's obviously more rights that people are entitled to, but I think these ones are very specific to youth and are very important. So I think this is why we need to talk about them, why we did the listening tour, why we are going around, because we need youth to know about their rights so that they can find their own voice and ensure that they do thrive in their life. So I will pass it back to now Kathy.
So hello again. As John said, you have the right to live and thrive. What is a want versus what is a need? Something just popped into my head. So I know John really wanted the computer to work. But did he have a right to that? Well, I guess that'd be open to perception. I would say he did because, again, one of our other rights is that adults have the responsibility to teach young people their rights. So yes, John, you did have a right to get that computer working. With that said, I'm going to actually start this out. I think our youth ambassador team, as John talked about, really provides us with so much insight on the youth perspective. So we had a really, really thorough discussion yesterday about what it meant to them to thrive. We also have a video that there's a link to, and I think we might play it today, which maybe I'll let John start it out with.
It works.
So it is one of our youth ambassadors who did a very short video and speaks to this right. Once she's done, we'll have a discussion on what our other youth ambassadors had to share about this right. Cross your fingers.
United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. Article 6. You have the right to not only live, but thrive. Everyone in Canada, every child, whether they're born in this beautiful country, has the right to have their dreams fulfilled. It's not enough to only have their basic needs met. It's not even enough to only expect to have a person's psychological needs met. Food, shelter, safety, friends, and intimate relationships, along with personal accomplishments, are great. But even better than all those is the right for people to thrive, to be the very best version of themselves. In order to do this, each child needs a solid, secure foundation to start forming their dreams, and that'll help make it a reality. This foundation is built with the help of family, community, and culture. It draws on positive, healthy relationships, supportive role models, and traditional teachings. As Indigenous people, we strive to live according to Mino Bimatwin, living in a good way.
And that was our video.
So just a big thanks goes out to our youth ambassador team. And I wanted Cheryl to share kind of the last line of Alvina's video and just say a few words on that.
Mino pamata siwan means to live a good life, to have that path. You're on a good path. We say that quite often in our language because it reminds us to be grateful for each day, to stay in balance, to understand that with every good thing there is a balance. So, and for us, it's a bad. We don't look to the past anymore to be able to understand the future, but be able to understand just for today in a good way. Miigwech.
So that is really brings us to kind of the discussions we had yesterday. We have the privilege of spending time with these young folks every single week, and every single week we learn something new. We take something. So, where John had talked about how important it is to acknowledge just the lessons that we can learn from our young people. It is so key. So yesterday we had this fantastic discussion. The quote actually made me think of one of our young people. We had talked about, we just put it out there, what does it mean to live and thrive to you? So here are some of their thoughts on what thriving meant to them. So one of our youth ambassadors talked about success not being the equivalent of thriving. You can be very successful but continue not to thrive. So we talked a little bit about, let's move it a bit deeper. What does that mean to you? So she talked about needing a support system, positive influences in her life. So not only a really strong peer set, whether that be one or two, but also having supportive adults around to make sure that we were providing guidance and support, kindness and caring, which all young people deserve. So again, her kind of key point in there is that in order to thrive, you don't just need to be successful, you need a supportive system around you. Another one of our youth who just had a birthday talked about, may the 4th be with you, talked about how important early childhood education is. It is so important for young people to have adults around them that are nurturing them and that are supporting their developmental stages. With that said, needing a good environment, food, love, connection, and direction. One of our young girls who has just done a ton of work in self-healing and moving forward and kind of going through challenges that a young person has gone through, going through kind of early adult, had a really beautiful statement and talked about thriving means living your best life, but being able to show it without judgment. So being able to live your best life, which really kind of, I could hear that in the video that we showed as well. So it's a common theme for all of our young people that thriving or living your best life really means that we need to support around you. You need to have that support around you. You know, some really, really unique perspectives. We also talked about thriving for a day versus thriving for a lifetime. We talked about how you could have a really bad day, but it doesn't mean that it's setting the stage for the rest of your path or your journey. Another brilliant insight really was just a quote that you need self-awareness to thrive. So self-awareness for this young individual really was key. He talked about you know, the moment that it happens, it's not a moment, it's a succession, and you realize that you are thriving or you are in a different space or a place. But that could not be done without the support of people around you or the nurturing kind of capacity of friends and family. I wanted to, again, give a shout out. John mentioned that we released a report yesterday, and I think timing was perfect. It is Mental Health Awareness Week. And the report was titled, Stop Giving Me a Number and Start Giving Me a Person. So shout out to Emily for, you know, just throwing that out there one day. And we did have some really interesting discussions around what that meant. So really start giving me a person. It speaks to and it ties into all of the other insight that the other young people have provided, which really is about connection and about a person. So stop giving me a number and start giving me a person. So thank you. It does showcase how important the work of our young people are to this office. The other thing I wanted to just mention is if you go on our website, we have a link, the Manitoba Advocate along with Manitoba Health has they've gotten together and created these THrival Kits. So the link will be provided on our website. But they're shoebox size kits that students in schools fill with small meaningful items. And they complete these classroom challenges throughout the year, really focused on mindfulness and their own mental health. So it has activities and some mindfulness in it. So please go on our website and check it out. It is a fantastic resource for schools. I'm going to pass it back off to John, and I'll just come back a little bit later and talk to you about some of the resources.
So as we've done every week so far, episode 7, we're doing another shout out to our hardworking MACY staff. As you see on the screen there, we have actually 2 MACY staff hard at work, it looks like. Of course, I'm kidding. That's not one of our MACY staff. But that is one of the home setups that they have right now, because we are still functioning, we are still working through this pandemic. It's a necessary service to make sure that youth rights are being met, and the Manitoba Advocate is very important. The work is very important, so we need it to continue. So we've been able to continue this work from home. So when you're calling our 1-800 number, you're actually getting through to one of our advocates who's sitting at home, such as this little cutie here, and they will be helping you. They are there to help you and help you find your voice. So please know that we are here still during this time for everybody. As mentioned, this week was the Murder and Missing Indigenous Women's Awareness on May 5th, Wear Red. So you may have been out, you may have seen a lot of posts. a lot of people wearing red dresses and whatnot,
Hanging up a red dress
hanging
outside,
out red
yeah.
dresses, and I think it's very important that we acknowledge that this is a huge thing, and we do want to give a little mention to the report that was done, and we do have a link for that we'll be providing in the comments section. So for anybody interested in reading about this report that was completed on murder and missing Indigenous women and girls, I think it's very important to read that, because there are a number of calls to action that I think need to be looked at and followed, because they do apply to a lot of our youth. A lot of our young youth, unfortunately, are a part of this as well. So, and I will pass it back to Kathy.
Well, that was pretty quick. So one of the things that I just wanted to quickly touch on was motivation. So part of our discussion yesterday with our young people was talking about, during this COVID pandemic, what we're doing to make sure that we're supporting our own mental health, our own needs. And I've said it before, but a self-assessment is so key. So being able to read your mind, read your body, understand where you're at. Again, you may not be thriving today, but you could thrive for your lifetime. So what can you do today to make sure that we're meeting our own needs? So one of the key themes that came out of our discussion yesterday really was the kids feeling like they had a really big lack of motivation. We talked about reasons for that: routine, schedule, lack of sleep, again, lack of physical proximity, and the absence of normal, essentially.
And exercise. Fresh air and exercise.
Fresh air and exercise. So actually, when I pass back to Cheryl, she's going to talk, I think, a little bit about kind of what it can look like to be in the land-based, so to be outside and to be connecting with your spirit, and nature. The other thing I think that came out of our discussion yesterday really was how important it is to make sure that you're finding key people in your life that you can reach out to. So our youth ambassador team, we meet once a week, but they've actually started reaching out to one another outside of those regular dates. John and Cheryl and I try and we check in with each other every day. Essentially, we're a family. We work here together, so that normal is gone too. We don't have that ability to support each other every day. So we do that online. We do that through text. Again, they will be lifting some of the restrictions, but we want to be really, really mindful and careful on how we're doing that. So we are going to continue to live stream for a little bit of time here. We're creating some webinars.
Hopefully live.
We're going to attempt live again next week. Our youth have started talking about creating more videos. So we have links to their videos online, and they want to create some more so that they are able to provide other young people across Manitoba with their perspectives. And with that, we hope that we can start creating some other videos with other young people outside of Manitoba who want to share them with us, so that we can start showcasing what it is you're doing, in the absence of that physical closeness. Some of the ideas that the young people gave us were crafting, and again, Cheryl will talk about exercising. And maybe that's what we'll do, is we'll start getting pictures of whatever they're creating in this strange space and time. But I'm going to pass it back off to Cheryl to talk about the land-based outside exercise and activity.
Miigwech, Kathy. So a lot of us have been really staying at home, flattening the curve. But in order for us to talk a little bit about with our youth, yesterday we asked them, how are you managing? How are you staying motivated? How are you staying focused? So after some discussion, I reminded everybody that it's important that we look at our water intake. It also helps align our electricity in our body that motivates us through the brain. So with a little physiology there, we look at how our mental thoughts are being processed. Are we staying in line with the outside world? So we have a lot of balances going on. So there's the outside world, there's the inside world, there's day and night, light and dark. But for us to be able to be motivated, to help others to stay motivated, We have to remember that water intake, our food, our rest, and our being able to communicate, even if it is just online or with ourselves, have that check-in system. For me, I like to get outside the city once a week and head to the bush. I just could just hug trees all day. It's the type of person that I am. Still medicine picking, still sharing knowledge with my family about what it is to be on the land. To understand that when we go to the land, we're not just spending time in the bush, we're spending the time in someone else's home. Mother Earth has given us an abundance of places to go, things to see, but we have to show that respect. We have to be comfortable and able to go for a walk in the bush, maybe down by the water, look at what's around us. It could be an eagle, it could be the fisher. I hear the carp are starting to run again, the suckers. So there's a lot of things that we could be doing in the bush depending on where you are. So if you can't make it out there, then look inside. Do you have the ability to read a book? Use things, get creative. It's up to you to understand your path. You don't have to listen to the suggestions of everybody, but you have to figure out what is going to work for you. That's how it is in healing. You have to be in charge of your ship to be able to understand what it is you need to look at in a small way. You don't have to complete a project in a day. Take a little time, get a routine. Be kind to yourself and think of it in terms of being kind to yourself. That's how you stay balanced, doing a little bit each day. There was a poem on Facebook a little while ago, and it said to move forward in a slow but kind way means that you do the dishes, sit down, have a cup of tea, take a break, make something to eat, come back, read a book, do whatever you want, but it's all filled with kindness exercises for you. And before you know it, your movement forward has taken you through the week. Again, I can't believe we've had 7 online sessions, during this time. I cannot believe all the things that we have managed to get through. Today, the technological difficulties. I keep telling these guys to bring jelly beans and tobacco. I smudged. It's okay. That's our path. And whether we realize it or not, that's showing us something about being kind and patient to help each other. Everything that we do here. The last piece I wanted to talk about was the moccasin exercise, and that's an exercise that we do in we show people what it's like to be kind, because I don't know what John's dealing with, I don't know what Kathy's dealing with, just like they don't know what I'm dealing with. If I don't, because they can't see it on me, doesn't mean that I'm not going through something. So to be able to try on somebody else's moccasins and walk around in them, they might be too big, they might be too small, they might not fit. I feel like I'm talking about Goldilocks here. But that's another good point that I haven't mentioned before, is that in Aboriginal country we use a lot of humor, because we've dealt with a lot of stuff, and humor offsets it, almost helps to rebalance ourselves in times of confusion, in times of trouble. We use humor in a good way to bring that energy level back up, to be able to say it's okay. We have to be able to laugh with ourselves, laugh at funny things, and we're doing it in a good way with the spirit to be able to help heal and promote that healing process, because mental health is very you don't know, and throughout the day you could have certain bouts of sadness, certain bouts of uncertainty, and with this time of COVID-19, that people have really not known what to expect. Things change on a daily basis, so you have to be kind to yourself. The security of your environment should be able to provide that security of knowing that you have a place to stay, and then your routine will come later. So and I think later is now, because we're a good 7 weeks into into this quarantine business, things are starting to open up, and people are now getting worried about different things like, is it too soon? And so from a cultural perspective, I'm asking that you drink water to keep that balance going for your electricity, the thoughts. We just were through a full moon yesterday. Beautiful grandmother in the sky. Very loving. And hopefully that should subside a lot of our fears, a lot of our chaos, and to remember to be kind to each other, because we don't know, as the moccasin teaching tells us, to walk a mile in someone else's shoes is to show compassion, kindness, and love. Even though we don't know what that person is going through, we still are able to say hello, how are you, smile, and be caring and kind. So for that, I say miigwech for those teachings, because we all go through that. Each and every one of us has that ability to be kind, even to total strangers that we don't know what's going on. So I say miigwech for that today.
So that just turned a light bulb on, and when Cheryl was talking about the walking a mile in my moccasins, I was thinking of one of our rights. So not necessarily you have the right to live and thrive, but you have the right to express your opinion and have adults listen to you. So help us understand what it is to walk a mile in your moccasins. Use your voice, because we want to hear. Well, we can't walk that mile in your moccasins for you. We want to walk beside you, and we want to understand what it feels to walk that mile. So yeah, that's all.
And I'm just going to say thank you for listening. I'm going to call it right now that next week we are going to be live. I don't care what it takes. It will be live, and we'll figure it out, and we'll be there. And that's going to be my prayer for the whole next week, is to combat this and make sure we're here, because you can still ask questions. Please post questions. We will get to them. But it's that much better if we can do it when you're in the moment and live and watching. But don't worry, if you leave comments now, again, we're going to be providing links, things like that. So watch this video again if you need to get some of that information. And yeah, I'm going to make my goal is going to be live next week.
So I will bring some jelly beans. Cheryl will bring some additional
Laughter,
additional smudge, and probably some more prayers. Because yeah, we really want John to have just a stress-free Friday, one of these Fridays. I wanted to just say thank you for joining us again. We'll be back again next week, same time, 11 a.m. Friday, hopefully live. And I just again wanted to just give thanks for our office and our ability to listen to the voice of young people. If you have the opportunity this week to go on our link, again, Stop Giving Me a Number and Start Giving Me a Person is our latest report. We will also be tweeting out a video done by one of our own ambassadors. Her name is Emily. So that'll be on our Twitter feed. She speaks to the right for young people to have access to mental health. So please check that out. Additionally, what does it mean to you to have the right to live and thrive? So if you have some feedback or thoughts on that, put it in our comments, and I would love to hear from young people. What does it mean to you to thrive? So I'm just throwing that out there. If you have the opportunity, add it to one of our comments. And again, thank you for joining us this week, and we hope to see you again next week.
Thank you.